I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. We are now going to finish Ezekiel chapter 40. And what this is, largely, is just what it has been anyways, largely, is a description of the temple. Exact measurements for each chamber, for the height, width, and length of every chamber, every gate, every post, all given minute measurements. Now this also has been spoken, this is in the 25th year of the captivity, which means it's approximately about the same time that Lehi dies in the New World. Daniel is still a magistrate, Jeremiah is probably dead by now, so that is where we are. We pick this up now, Ezekiel chapter 40, starting at verse 24. After that he brought me toward the south, and behold, a gate towards the south, and he measured the posts thereof, and the arches thereof, according to these measures. And there were windows in it, and in the arches thereof round about like those windows. The length was 50 cubits, and the breadth 25 cubits. And there were 7 steps to go up to it, and the arches thereof were before them. And it had palm trees, one on this side and another on that side, upon the posts thereof. And there was a gate in the inner court towards the south, and he measured from the gate to gate toward the south 100 cubits. And he brought me to the inner court by the south gate, and he measured the south gate according to these measures. And the little chambers thereof, and the posts thereof, and the arches thereof, according to these measures. And there were windows in it, and in the arches thereof round about. It was 50 cubits long, and 25 cubits broad, and the arches round about were 25 cubits long, and 5 cubits broad, and the arches thereof were toward the utter court. And palm trees were upon the posts thereof, and the going up to it had 8 steps. This is all a little confusing. Let us just keep reading. It just seems to be this chapter is just an architecture's blueprint of the temple. So let us continue reading here for now. Verse 32. And he brought me into the inner court towards the east, and he measured the gate according to these measures, and the little chambers thereof, and the posts thereof, and the arches thereof were according to these measures. And there were windows therein, and in the arches there round about. And there were windows therein, and in the arches thereof round about. It was 50 cubits long, and 25 cubits broad, and the arches thereof were toward the outward court. And palm trees were upon the posts thereof, on this side and on that side. And the going up to it had 8 steps. And he brought me to the north gate, and measured it according to these measures, the little chambers thereof, the posts thereof, and the arches thereof, and the windows up to it round about. The length was 50 cubits, and the breadth 25 cubits. And the posts thereof were toward the utter court, and palm trees were upon the posts thereof on this side and on that side, and the going up to it had 8 steps. And the chambers and the entries thereof were by the posts of the gates, where they washed the burnt offering. So it seems that every side has a gate. The inner court, there are 2 courts. So you have the main building, then you have the inner court, and you have the outer court, and there's a gate in the inner court on the north, east, and south, and there's a gate on the outer court for the north, east, and south. And the gates are all the same measure, and they're all the same distance from each other. From the inner. So the outer court is 100 cubits from the inner court, and the inner court itself is like 50 cubits long. And you have these facing gates. It doesn't seem to mention a western gate, and there's a little confusion there. Some of the gates have 7 steps, and some of them have 8 steps. I'm not sure if this is like the east and south have 8 steps, and the north only has 7, or is it the inner court that has 7 and the outer court has 8? And it's a little confusing. Again, I don't think these details are vital to us right now. I could be wrong, but I just don't see them. If they were all, I don't know. It's confusing, quite honestly. So, verse 39. And in the porch of the gate were 2 tables on this side and 2 tables on that side, to slay thereon the burnt offering and the sin offering and the trespass offering. And at the side without, as one goeth up to the entry of the north gate, were 2 tables, and on the other side, which was at the porch of the gate, were 2 tables. 4 tables were on this side, and 4 tables on that side, by the side of the gate. 8 tables whereupon they slew their sacrifices. And the 4 tables were of hewn stone for the burnt offering, of 1.5 cubits long, and 1.5 cubits broad, and 1 cubit high, whereupon also they laid the instruments wherewith they slew the burnt offering and the sacrifice. And within were hooks, and handbreadth, fastened round about, and upon the tables was the flesh of the offering. So it seems that just inside the outer gates, for each gate, they each had tables of stone where these offerings would be sacrificed, or would be slain. This isn't the altar for the sacrifice itself. This is where you kill the animal. Verse 44. And without the inner gate were the chambers of the singers in the inner court, which was at the side of the north gate, and their prospect was toward the south, one at the side of the east gate having the prospect towards the north. And he said unto me, This chamber, whose prospect is towards the south, is for the priests, the keepers of the charge of the house. And the chamber whose prospect is toward the north is for the priests, the keepers of the charge of the altar. These are the sons of Zadok, among the sons of Levi, which come near to the Lord to minister unto him. So he measured the court 100 cubits long and 100 cubits broad, 4 square, and the altar that was before the house. And he brought me to the porch of the house, and measured each post of the porch, 5 cubits on this side, and 5 cubits on that side, and the breadth of the gate was 3 cubits on this side, and 3 cubits on that side. The length of the porch was 20 cubits, and the breadth 11 cubits, and he brought me by the steps whereby they went up to it. And there were pillars by the posts, one on this side, and one on that side. So yeah, this entire chapter is just a description of the temple. We have these, it appears there's 3 gates. West does not get a gate. Unless I missed something, I'm pretty sure there's no gate on the west. And at the gate, the outer court, are the tables where you slay the sacrifice. At the inner court, there are the chambers for the priests. On the south side, this is where the priests who keep the house. These are the priests that actually do the work of the temple inside the holy. That's what I'm pretty sure they're talking about when it says these are the priests who keep the work of the house. These are the priests that do the work inside the holy place. On the north are, and I could get that in my south-north, I'm getting a little confused, but on the other side are the rooms for the priests who do the burnt offerings, who make the sacrifices. And they're all descended from Zadok. That's an interesting one. Zadok seems to be a very important figure in the line of Levi. He's descended from Aaron, so he is a priest. He's the high priest, and his children become the priests, or they will be the priests of the temple. That's an interesting one. We leave that here, and we pick it up in chapter 3 in the next video, so see you there.